Hi, everyone, and welcome. It's great to see you all again, and we have a lovely, fun topic today 20 facts about getting jobs. My name's Lisa. I am from a small town called Robertson near Cape Town in South Africa. And you are welcome to introduce yourself by posting a comment in the chat section and say where you are from and when you started your TEFL journey. And it will be great to chat to all of you today. I've been teaching English for quite a number of years to students from all over the world, and I'm sure that is what all of you are looking forward to doing. So, as I say, you are welcome to say hi and introduce yourself as you arrive. Okay. It is warming up here in South Africa. Actually hasn't been a very long winter. It's just been a cold winter, and it seems like spring is springing. Hi, Marcella from UK. Hi from Belgium. Hi, Catherine. Nice to see you all. And Northeast Lincolnshire. Great. It's good to see you all. And Cape Town, South Africa, where I'm born and bred, but then I moved. Okay, New Zealand and living in Germany. So we have people from all over the world, from England. Lovely. I'm so pleased you're all here. One always has is everyone here? Okay, Port Elizabeth from PE or GQ and USA. So it's good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone. New Zealand must be very late at night. Texas, Colombia, Florida. Wow, great. So let's get started. Okay, so 20 questions about jobs. What is your perfect job? Hi from Mexico. I'll say hi from Nigeria. Ibrahim, hello. Great to meet you all. Okay, so what is your perfect job? TEFL is an amazing career because you can either travel the world or you can work from home. So it can be one of the most exciting and potentially nerve-wracking jobs, or it could be quite chilled because you're working from home. So it's such a wide scope of jobs. Brittany in France, Mexico, excellent. So think about, picture this. Where would you like, what is your dream job? Where would you like to work? Would you like to travel and work? Côte d'Ivoire, France, amazing that people are from all over the world. Okay, so would you like to travel the world and experience all sorts of new things? Or do you want to work from home behind a computer? Think about what your typical day looks like. Do you want to work full-time? Is this an extra job? Is it a job that you do on the weekends or in the evenings? Or is it a full-time job and your life's calling? So you really need to think Portugal. Hi, so many people. So you need to think, what do you need from your job? Is this a full-time job potentially? Is it a part-time job? Is it one of many jobs? So that is something you need to decide before you even look for work. Okay. What factors do you need to consider? That is what, and Brazil, hi. Okay. Factors you need to consider before you make these big decisions. So here are the 20 questions to help you make that big decision. All right. Joburg, hi. South Africans, lots of us. Okay, so first and foremost, do you want to move overseas? Where do you want to stay? If you go overseas, how much do you know about the culture? So if you are thinking of going to, all right, so what country do you want to go to? Is there a country you've always wanted to go to? Do you have a second language where you think that it would be great to go to that country? Do you want to see the art? Do you want to taste food? If you move to a new country, how much do you know about the culture? Is it very different from where you live? Is the country that you would move from? Hi from Italy, nice to meet you. Okay, so also good question. Can you eat the food? If you are vegan or vegetarian or don't eat gluten, will you be able to access that kind of food in your new country? Very big thing. Everyone has to eat to stay alive. So you really do need to do research from so many points of view. How long can I stay in the country? Does your current country, are the visa requirements and the passport like? So that's also something you need to know about. More about the culture. Are you religious? What will the culture in a different or religion be in a different country? So these are all factors you really do need to take into account. Okay, I'm talking too quickly. I can tell I'm talking too quickly. If you travel to another country, will you be traveling alone? Are you young and single and traveling alone? Or do you already have a family, children, or a spouse that you need to take into account? Do you want to take your partner with you? If you have children, you will need to find a school for your children. Will there be an English school for your children? Or do your children speak the language of the country you might be moving to? And then furthermore, carrying on, learning about the culture or the local language. So if you go to an Asian country, then the language is nothing like English. It's not Germanic. So it's a completely brand new experience. So, and the culture might be completely different. Okay. Carrying on. So because you would be a guest in that country, even if you're working there, you would need to make sure that you understand about the culture and the local language. And as we said, the dietary restrictions. Okay, so you need to know, will you be able to find vegan food or even just vegetarian food? Even in your own country, that's sometimes a challenge. If you can't find a vegetarian food other than a spinach and feta pie, there's nothing else to eat. So it's something that you really do need to think about carefully. All right. So now you have decided on a country. So you think that you will move there. What is it that attracts you to that place? Okay. I'm just going to say before I carry on is that we have half an hour of slides where I will talk, hopefully not too quickly. And then we have half an hour of questions and answers. So keep your questions for the next 23 minutes time. And then you can put up all your questions and we will delve into all of those questions and I will do my best to answer them all. All right. I just saw one question now. So we will only answer the questions after we've gone through all the slides. Perfect. Okay. Another very important thing. What is the cost of living in that country? As we know, the cost of living in the last few years has gone crazy around the world. So everything costs more. Do a bit of research. What does it cost to charge your phone? What does Wi-Fi cost? How much will you pay for an apple or for a loaf of bread? So you need to think about that as well. Also, if you are moving and living in a new country, what else can you do there when you're not working? If you usually go surfing, are you by the sea? If you like to climb mountains, is it a flat area? Or if you're sporty, is there a place for you to go to gym and do the sport that you like? Or if you like the cultural kind of thing, are there art galleries or cinemas or theaters? So things to take into consideration. What do you usually do on the weekend or in the evening where you live now? And will you be able to do any of that in your new country? And obviously we were talking about traveling, but if you aren't wanting to travel for your job, there also are jobs from home. So you also can work from home. And then there's a third kind of TEFL job, teaching English job, where you can not just teach online, but also if you have a country that has English schools that teach it, you could work at one of those schools. So there are 3 different kinds of jobs, really. You can go overseas and work in a different country. you can work online from the comfort of your own home, or you can work at a language school in your own country. Okay, so you want to travel or work from home. Good. Okay. Now, before you sign a contract for whatever job, so this now is a contract for your online job or your overseas job or the job that you have teaching at a school, you need to look at your contract, the length of your contract. Often, the first contract will be 6 months and then it is renewed. Sometimes you get a year and have a, read all the small print in those contracts. There was something else that said small print. Oh, yes. Another point. Also, if you are getting a contract from a school in a different country, your contract might not be in English. So have it translated into the language that you understand the most and the best, so that you know what it actually says. Because contracts can be confusing at the best of times. And if it is in a language that you know nothing about, that is something you really need to take into consideration. So, is your contract renewable? Do you want to renew it? And then another very important thing. Again, this is for online work and overseas work. So, number of teaching hours and number of hours you work, because those are not necessarily the same thing. So, the number of teaching hours, I think I jumped over something. Contracts. Okay. Contracts. Yes. So this was a point that I just thought I must mention. It says here 20 classroom hours. So that's 20 hours of teaching is equivalent to 40 to 50 hours of working, because there are so many other things that you need to do with teaching. So some of the teaching, the live teaching, is some of the work, but there's so many other things that you need to do as well. So lesson planning, admin, feedback. You frequently have to write notes or give feedback. So written notes, and as I said, so sometimes you work at a school that will provide you with a lesson. Sometimes you have to make all the lessons yourself and do all the lesson plans, which is a lot of work that you might or might not be being paid for. Okay. Extracurricular activities. Some schools this might be a shocker. You are teaching English in a foreign country, and then they also want you to coach badminton, or they want you to take children on camp every weekend. So these are also things you really need to have a look at and make sure that is it in your contract? Is it paid for? And as I said, pre-prepared materials. Do you have to prepare every single class for every single student, or do they give you lessons that you can use? Are there slides or lessons that you can make use of? Or do you have to come up with brand new classes for every student or every class? Okay. Would you have a classroom assistant? This person, now imagine you are overseas, actually even online as well. If you are teaching students that are potentially either very young or at a very low level of English, even teaching basic words like hello might be beyond those students. So a classroom assistant would be somebody who would be there, who spoke the language of those students. So speaking the students' first language, who can help them like sit down and listen in their language. So a teaching classroom assistant, whether you are online or going to another country, is someone that is very useful, that can help you find your way with lower level learners, students. Okay, different class groups. So I'm getting hoarse already. Different class groups. So are you teaching small children or teenagers or adults or IELTS students? So something else you need to find out. What kind of students do you enjoy teaching the most? Everyone has their favorite age of students to teach? I think they do. I often can't tell you though. You think this, know that. All right. Will your lessons be observed frequently? And if you're working for a school, there will be someone who will either come into your classroom and watch you and check on you, maybe once a week, once a month, twice a year, or online. Maybe people will have come and watch to see how you're doing. So this is something that might happen. A mentor. Mentors can be very useful people. If you are a beginner teacher and you're not certain, is there someone in the company or at the school you're working at that can help you out, that can give you some pointers and tips on your way, and just sort of, I think everyone, when they start, if someone else can be kind and help them and be a mentor, that would be very, very useful. Okay, so see if there is one. Hope there is one. And then will the work be in different locations? So often a school in a country is not just one campus. It'll be a school that has several campuses. Are you only going to be working at one of those schools? Or do you work at one school on the weekdays and another one on the weekends? So you also need to find out, are you going to be traveling about? Are you just focused in one school? Could you be moved to an entirely different school? So you're actually working at one school and they decide, no, actually, we need you in this other town at our other branch. Could they just move you? So that's also something that you need to have a look at. It should be in your contract. Okay. Then you've moved. Will the school that you work for provide the following? Do they provide accommodation? Is there a place you have to stay? Are you just in a room? Are you sharing a flat? Or must you get your own accommodation? Do you have to pay your own rent? Or do they give you some money towards rent? Do you have to pay for electricity? Do you have to pay? So these are all things. So just like your regular life now, you go overseas, you're going to have to pay all those bills. And does your employer help with them, or are you left alone? Will they provide language lessons? Will they help you learn to speak German if you are in Germany? Or Thai if you are in Thailand? Will they provide you with second language lessons, which would be very useful? Will they give you medical insurance? What happens if you are overseas and you get ill or you are in an accident? What are you going to do? So again, things that you really need to do research on. Transport. So if you are going from one school to the next, is there a school bus? Must you get a travel card? Will they pay for your travel card? Do you have to catch taxis in some country you've never been to before? So again, something you really need to find out about. What is the public transport like in that country? Is it reliable? Is it expensive? Is it safe? All things you need to think about. Completion bonus. So this is something that could be nice. If you have a 6-month contract and then after 6 months you've done well, you've completed it, do they then give you a bonus and then maybe a raise? So things that you'll hope for. And free flights. Does that school pay for you to leave your country now, pack up and go overseas, or must you buy the plane ticket? It's a huge cost, depending on the country you're in. But for some countries, flights cost a fortune. So that is a definite thing that you must find out about. Okay. If you have got your job through an agency, do you pay them a commission? Do they take 10% of your salary every single month or every week? Or do they take, that's like if you have an agent, or do they get their commission from the school? So you need to find out as well. And then you'll probably, not necessarily, but a lot of countries, you will need a visa. Will they help you with the visa? Will they give you the information that you need? Or are you left to your own devices trying to get that all organized? So there are so many questions. So if you are planning, you have an overseas job now, this this webinar will be available on YouTube. So you can always look back at all of these slides and go, oh, yes, okay, and look through them and then tick off, because there are so many things that you need to take into consideration. All right. The school, you now have been employed and hired by a school. Where is the school? Is it in the middle of the city? Is it in a small little country town far away from anyone? Is it a tiny school? Is it a huge school? That would make a huge difference. How long has it been open? Has it been open for 5 years? Cool. Has it only just opened? That could be great, because it's maybe a brand new school with enthusiasm, or maybe it could be a fly-by-night kind of thing. You've moved overseas and now the school doesn't have enough students to stay open. How many students does it have? Because that makes a huge difference. If you have, again, this is also for online. If you have a school and they don't have enough students, you are not going to get enough teaching hours. So find out, how busy is the school? What courses does it offer? So does the school have students from age 5 to 70? Do they teach beginners? Do they teach IELTS? Do they do exam preparation? Do they teach communication English? Do they do business English? So have a look and see what courses that the school that you are applying for or that you have been hired by, what they offer. How many centers does it have? As I mentioned before, if you're traveling from center to center, do they only have one main branch, or does it have one main branch and a whole bunch of satellite schools? That's the word I was thinking of. All around that country or all around that city. So it really depends as well. Will you have access to a library? So either an online library so that you can do research, or a real library with actual books, old-fashioned paper books. If you have to prepare lessons all the time, do they give you help by saying, here we have these, this is our information that you can use? All right. And as I mentioned before, if you're doing lessons, do you also need to prepare a whole syllabus, which is a huge undertaking? If that's your kind of thing, then that's very interesting, but it's something you really need to find out about before. Okay. And then visualize. So we say visualize your job. Are you overseas or from home? And visualize your ideal class. Some people love teaching kids. I actually love teaching kids. I get on so well with kids. I have no idea why. Whereas other people are like, oh my word, not children. And I only want to teach adults. So who do you love? Who do you love teaching? And little kids, medium kids. Some people don't get teenagers. Others do. So think about it. Who you really enjoy interacting with. And language level. Do you enjoy teaching beginners or people who are actually quite fluent? So obviously, if they're beginners, you don't have to worry about grammar. And if they are advanced, it could be more of a challenge in terms of grammar and how do you work with that. So it really depends on what you are looking for. And I don't think there's only one answer. As I'm reading this, I'm thinking of my own answers, and I don't have just one. It's like a bit of each. All right. More things about traveling. I'm going to have a sip of water. Okay. Obviously, before you travel, you need a passport, or they won't let you on the airplane. So passport and visas. So all your travel documents you need to sort out. Then depending on where you go, do you need health certificate? And do you need vaccinations? So are there weird insects in that new country that might bite you? Do you need to get special vaccinations to go to that country, or do you need special vaccinations to protect you from insects, or to protect that country from things that are in your country? So see which vaccinations you need to get. Police check. That is something that some countries do, especially if you have to work, if you're going to work with children, they will check. And it's not just if you have a criminal record, it's just that you have a police check checks things like where you've lived and all sorts of things. So some schools might want to do that. And do your documents need notarization? So do you need to get them stamped and so that, yes, this is really, it's a true thing and it's real. So do you need to have that done? Okay. Financial considerations. Do I need a new bank account? Do you have to open a bank account in a new country? Or will they be able to pay you through Wise or PayPal or Payoneer and it goes into your bank account back home? And well, often online ones, you need to open that kind of PayPal, Payoneer, Wise kind of thing. Sometimes you do need to, if you need PayPal, then you might need a different bank account. So have a look at that. What tax do I need to pay? Will that school take tax from your salary, or do you need to sort that out in your home country? So many things you need to sort out. Do you need to buy insurance? Is that health insurance, travel insurance, insurance on like personal insurance on your laptop if you are in a different country, and on your well-being? So personal insurance and health insurance, so all of those things you definitely need to find out about. Okay. I'm looking at my time. I'm getting there. As you can see, there are many, many, many factors to consider before jumping on a plane to an exciting destination. Definitely. Whether you're traveling for work or traveling, I think everyone knows that it's not something you can do lightly. And if you're working from home, there are also, other than just jumping on a plane, there are also lots of things that you need to take into account. So you need to get your computer skills up to date, get a new laptop, get cameras, all that kind of thing. And so either way, a bit of planning will ensure that you find a job that is a good fit for you. Okay, so it depends whether you are adventurous and you are traveling the world or working from home with your cats. So it depends what you are after. Now we will go to, and actually before we even go, I'm going to put up, there is, the TEFL Academy has an excellent resource called the Fact Book. Okay, TEFL Academy Fact Book. This is, so before I take questions, write down, I must actually put it on this one now. Okay, so write down that address. Now this fact book, it's a great resource. It has, it made, when I read it, well, I didn't read the whole thing, but when I had a look at it, it reminded me of I can't think of those books, encyclopedias. It reminded me of encyclopedia. This is like an encyclopedia of working in foreign countries. So it is an excellent resource. So write that address down and check it out. So if you're thinking, I really want to go to Croatia, then you can look up Croatia. Or I can't wait to go to South Korea, have a look, because it's got so many countries and so much information. So it has the religion and the food and the how much it costs, so much information. All right, so have a look at that. Now, questions. I'm sure I've left things out that I was supposed to say, so I will scroll down. So someone said right earlier that they want to work, I want to do both. Sinclair, hi. Want to travel the world and work from home. So cool. You just need to decide which one you want to do first. So I think there's a job board as well on the TTA website. If you go to, I wrote all these things down. If you just have a look, go to the TEFLacademy.com and the blog and jobs, and then have a look and see which job comes up first. So if you'll be traveling or working from home first. Okay. And you want to say Spain and Italy, which I think that'd be okay. Is there a limit of age to apply to any of these jobs? Stephanie, I presume, you look so young. So I presume 18, you would have to be an adult. As long as you were an adult, I think that's fine. And I'm not sure, you look so young. So I don't know if there's a old age limit. I think if you're willing to travel, then give it a go. All right. Then Lorato, pointers can you give regarding making introductory video? So there's actually a webinar specifically on making introductory videos. So I'm not going to go into detail about that now. And I think if you go to the TTA YouTube page, there are a whole lot of webinars that have been done already that you can go to. But I think just I'm not going to go into any detail, but I do think that keep it short. Make sure you're in a quiet room and give yourself some crib notes and then practice it a few times and smile. I think you will probably hate it. All those videos you make, you see, you think, oh no, do I sound like that? But I think if you sound confident and friendly, then that will be fine. Okay. This looks like would traveling to an English-speaking country and teaching at an English school count as a fourth option? Absolutely, Chiara. Completely. So for instance, like in Cape Town, in South Africa, there are a lot of language schools because South Africa, the currency is not particularly strong. So wherever you travel from, your currency will be stronger. So, of course, then you earn in rands. But there are a lot of language schools. So a lot of people come from all over the world and stay in Cape Town because it's pretty and fun. And it's full of language schools. So you can have a holiday and study English in South Africa, in Cape Town. So that is also... or if you were to travel to England or Australia, New Zealand, America, I'm thinking of countries that speak English either as a first or a second language. Okay. What factors or questions did you have or considered when you had to travel to a country for the first time? Well, the kind of things that we've mentioned before. So is that country, is it a place that you want to explore, that you are interested in? Do you think that you would enjoy living there? I was thinking earlier, do you like the cold or the warmth? So are you willing to go to a country that's freezing cold? Some people love the cold. Or do you want to go to a country that's warm? I would prefer a warm country. A freezing cold country, that suits some people, but not everyone. So that's another thing. It's not in these notes, but I was thinking about it earlier, thinking that is really something to take into account. So if you travel to a country for the first time, are you brave enough to go to a country where they don't speak any English? That is a huge consideration. To live in a country where you do not understand the language is something that you need to really think about. But a lot of people have done that and enjoyed it and done incredibly well. And it's an adventure. Okay. Hi, Richard. Hi. Thank you for your time. Level 3 course of planning on just doing the online route from home. It depends. Different schools have asked for different things. And level 3 and level 5 is particular to TTA. Not all language schools. Some language schools do like a 120 hour or a 150 hour, or a 180 hour, or some do CELTA or Delta. So it depends. It really depends. I don't think that it's a yes or no. And you would have to, each school would ask. But not everyone calls it a level 3 and level 5 course. So it would depend. I hope I'm not talking nonsense there, but I do think that there are different ways of naming the levels of the course for different language schools. And if you did decide to go overseas, perhaps. And I think studying further and learning more in is always good as well. Okay. I hope I've answered that question correctly. But again, if I'm not answering all these questions 100%, they also, if you are confused, go to tutor support and send a ticket and ask a question. All right. There are a lot of questions coming in. How much is the salary for a person who teaches overseas? It's definitely high. That is not a question that anybody could really answer, because if you are working in Brazil or Belgium or Vietnam, the salary is going to be different. There's such a variation. And I would just, when you apply for jobs, like if you go, for instance, through LinkedIn, they will say how much they pay. So, but for online, you can get paid from like really as starter teachers there, and people taking like $3 I've even seen an hour, right up to £25. So it really depends. There's such a huge range of salaries that you would have to just, when you look at the job and think about the job, look at what the salary is. Okay, an advanced diploma, will I be able to teach in foreign countries? Yes, definitely. Different schools and different countries will ask for different things. Like in one of these webinars before, a lot of people were asking about a BA. So some schools want you to have a degree, some just want you to have a TEFL. So it really depends. But an advanced diploma should put you a step ahead. So the more experience and the more studying you've done, obviously always stands you in better stead. All right. Assistants. Do you have to appoint and pay them yourself? A teaching assistant? I'm going to guess probably not, but I think usually, in my experience, the teaching assistants would work for the same school. So I don't think you would have to pay them, is my guess. Again, the range of countries and the range of schools is huge, but I can't imagine that you would have to pay those assistants. Those assistants would be helping the students throughout everything: writing, speaking, reading. So some schools might not have them, but schools that do have them, I can't imagine that another teacher would have to pay them. But I could be wrong. You never know. All right. More about salaries. How much is a salary? Should I have another job to work and be living in a foreign country? It will depend. I think if you get a full-time job at a school, and you're working in another country, I think that probably that salary will be enough. As opposed to if you work online, sometimes the jobs that one gets online are not full-time jobs. They are sort of part-time jobs, and you might have to get another job, balance your time, and maybe you only work mornings, or you only work evenings, or only weekends. But I think if you travel to a different country and you're working for a school, I imagine that should be enough. Obviously, all people, if you have plenty of time, maybe you get a private student on the side, or maybe you like to bartend for fun on the side. So I won't say yes or no, but I think if you travel to another country and have a full-time job, it is probably enough to live on. Probably, hopefully. Thank you. All right. I'd advise someone who's never taught the best way to get started. Well, there are different ways. If you're very brave, you can jump on a plane and jump in. There are those people who are happy to just jump in. On the other side, if you get a lot of schools, online schools will take you even if you don't have experience. So that is the safer, less terrifying way of getting a job. So if you've never had any teaching, to get an online job is a great way to start, a great way to get experience, and you haven't packed up your whole life and flown to another country. Also, if you've never taught, like I would get experience. My advice is get experience before you go overseas. What if you don't even like it? I mean, you probably will, but imagine you go, just imagine. Probably won't happen. Hi from Paraguay. Hi. Okay. I know you guys help us to find a job. Are there other websites where one can apply? So yes, TTA. There's a job board that not only gives you jobs, shows you where to find jobs, but will also provide other websites and places that you can go to. So they are, and if you go online and search TEFL or TESL jobs, okay, there's so much. The choice is huge. And again, also places like LinkedIn, and there's one called Indeed, which also, so there are other websites that you can go to where you put your info in and can start applying for jobs as well. There's so many, there really are. All right, I intend to further my studies in education. Is that possible to do while teaching English? Yes, it is, Lorato. It is. So if you are teaching from home or overseas and you are finishing a degree, and like if you're from South Africa, for instance, and you're studying through UNISA, then you can be anywhere in the world studying through UNISA. That's University of South Africa, if you aren't from South Africa. And yes, you can. I know of people who do that they are teaching overseas and studying at the same time. So working, like finishing their BA and doing honors, and there are all sorts of things that you can do while you are teaching. So yes, and especially or online. So if you are teaching online, then that's a way to pay for some of your studies. So yes, studying and working is something you can definitely do. How do I actually find a job and where do I start looking? I want to teach online. Zaki, hi. Just start applying. There are also jobs if you go on Facebook. If you go on Facebook, there are groups. There are groups, and like you can join from your country, wherever you are from. There might be, finding jobs for French people online or finding jobs for South Africans online. And there are Facebook groups where they post jobs all the time. And, as someone mentioned earlier about making a video, make a little video. It only has to be a minute, really. It doesn't have to be a song and a dance. Actually, don't even, in fact, okay, to retract that. If you do job interviews, whether you're going overseas or working online, different schools will ask for different things from you. So some of them, you will just have a live interview, and some will ask you to add a video. So if you want to add a video, then also a minute. A minute is fine. You don't need to give your life story. Keep it short and sweet. So start looking, go to the jobs board on the TTA. I've got written all down here. So, Factbook, that's if you're going. See the jobs board. And then there's even internship jobs. So also on the job. So go to the TEFL blog. So the TEFLacademy.com blog. And then look for jobs. And then type a keyword in for certain things. And then that will point you, and then click on a school, and there are schools that are looking for people all the time. Okay. considering the language barrier, do you think I should learn hi, Catherine, learn the basics of the language beforehand, or is it better to take a language course locally, or maybe both? I think it will completely depend. If you are, it really will depend. So if, for instance, this is like random. So if you go, so I said random. So if you get a job in the Netherlands, for instance, and you're from South Africa and you know Afrikaans, then you will have a little bit, you already have like a step in a foot in the door. Whereas if you go to Taiwan, I think probably a bit of each. Basics of a language, maybe just a few things. And then I think if you were wanting to learn the whole language, it probably is better to do it. If you are in that country, you will find probably more. Yeah, to speak to locals and people who actually speak the language all the time will probably be the best place to learn that language. But maybe if you know you are going to a country where you don't know a single word of that language, I would learn just a few things. The basics, probably a good idea. Okay. Currently teaching accounting, business studies at a high school. I told that accounting and not taught at international schools, hence I'm doing build. Yes, completely. So are you hoping, hi Candace, so accounting at a high school to teach business science and English? Completely. I mean, if you are hoping to go to a different country overseas and teach at a high school that country's high school, then yes, business studies in English in a high school, I think that would definitely count in your favor. I'm not 100% sure because I haven't studied business studies, but yes, I can imagine that it would definitely, doing the TEFL will definitely help you to teach English and therefore be a foot in the door to teach English and that language. Okay. Hi, Richard again. Recommend completely finishing the course before applying, looking for a job, or can one already start looking when you are nearing the end of the course? It depends how close you are. If you're like a month away, then yes, you might as well start looking now. But sometimes start looking now. Sometimes they want your certificate. So you need your certificate. But I mean, if you are a month away, you can start looking. It is a journey. It also, it's not, you can look for jobs all the time. So you can, even if you've got one job, you could, and it sort of fills some of your time, you can look for a second job. So, or maybe you have two different jobs. They also, for instance, you can get a job overseas is one way, or if you online job that you are working for a school, and then there are other online jobs where, like Preply, just for instance, where you sort of are like a freelance teacher within, so you can start looking at any stage and carry on. Even if you have got a job, you can look for more jobs. Thanks, Catherine. It is a pleasure. Okay, have we come almost to the end of I'm going to look and see if I missed any of the questions earlier. All right. Are there any extra questions here? So, yeah, online, like once you've got one job and you've like a starter job, if you've never had a job before and you've got a job and you teach, there are other jobs. So you can sort of level up. You can start at one job and then move on. Language do you recommend? I'm just here. Here's another one. Okay. teaching EN is such a large in-demand industry. There's also a chance of there being. That is true. Scams in the mix of job offers. Have you experienced this? How can you, if an employer is reputable? Very, very good question. Okay. I would, there is a place, like sort of like Hello Peter. There is a, that you can check on jobs. Now, I'm not remembering this. Oh my word, but there is a website that you can check for the schools. But Indeed, the one I mentioned earlier, Indeed is a place that you can look at and type in the name of the school, and there will be comments, and people will say, don't work there, they're terrible, they never give you a raise, or others say it's a fun job, but they expect you to have all your time open for slots all the time. So Indeed, I don't know the exact address, but it's called Indeed. I've just written Indeed, so my spelling's too bad. Indeed, like the word. So have a look at that, and check the name. I've had that before. There are schools and even ask on Facebook as well. Like, has anybody taught for this school? Because I think there are scams, unfortunately, just like everything else in life. So check. All right. Do you like to work from different places or stay in one place to learn the culture and then move? Some people, once you've settled, maybe you've settled and you love it there. Some people, I know one person who got a job and he then got married, and he's moved. He's a South African guy and moved to Vietnam to teach, and he's now married to a Vietnamese woman, and that is where he lives. A young guy. So it depends. Or if you're traveling, for instance, in Asia, you can move all around the place, or in Europe. Once you are in Europe, you are so close. So it depends what your journey is. But it's an exciting journey. So some people love to settle and some people love to travel. So I think that is your main, that's your main thing. Just like if you like hot or cold weather, do you like traveling around, or do you like to nest and find a place to settle? Okay, good. Suppose I could probably teach subjects other than English. Yes, at international schools that offer general classes. Very, very true. There are even online jobs where you can teach English and other things, like if you're very good at maths or business or geography or history. And so if you have other, especially if you have experience, it's good. If you have other strings to your bow, that's such an old expression. But if you have other things you do, then that is a good thing. Teaching English and having a TEFL is cool, but if you can also do something else, it definitely is a good thing. Okay, how long have I been teaching and why do I like teaching? I've been teaching for so many years, and I've been teaching so many different things as well. I do teach English mainly now, but I actually have taught all sorts of things in my life. And why do I like teaching? I love communication, and it's the most amazing thing if you know something and you can share it with somebody else and they didn't know before and now they do know. And also, doesn't matter how old you are. Like, for instance, I do get on well with young folk. I have a daughter I actually get on well with her too, which is good. She's she's 17, and as she's grown up, I always enjoy spending time with kids and then teens. So I enjoy spending time with young people, and then I think, oh, just young people. Then I meet some adults. It's like it's fun. It's fun. So if you like talking too much, that's a reason to teach. And if you like meeting people, so whether you like meeting them online, meeting them overseas, and communicating and sharing knowledge and ideas, I think are the main things and the reason that I love teaching. And yes, Indeed. Yes, thank you. Indeed. It is called Indeed. and you can check. I went there for checking on something else, and then you can check on schools there, and you also can apply for jobs. So it's a good place to have a look at, indeed. Okay, thank you. And we are coming to the end. Time for a few more questions. A few more questions. So anyone else? So I also, yeah, as I said, so there are so many, it really is, it's a job that opens up so many different doors. So many different doors. So from, like for traveling, that it's an amazing kind of thing that you can work and travel at the same time, and that if you get a job, it will be easier to get into other countries is one great thing. And also, like, especially since COVID, the online thing that people can literally work from their own homes and have a career or okay. Richard again. I'm in my 40s. I've been in advertising for 20 years, wanting to make a change now to teaching because friends told me to do it. My mom was a teacher. Not too old. Well, I don't think so at all. I think having learned a lot of things myself, old dogs can learn new tricks. And there are lots of things with being older that in some ways make things easier. That I think sometimes, not necessarily, people who are older have life skills that are very, very useful that you can't buy. And if you're very young, you don't have yet. But I don't think being 40 is too old. No, I don't. I think that if you are willing to learn and you are still into it, then yes. Okay, and great. Thank you, Catherine. Don't worry. And I was studying to be a teacher in Belgium. I had classmates who were in their 50s. Completely. It doesn't matter what age you are. If you are willing to put the work in and spend time with people of all ages, because if you're willing to not make friends, but learn to work with people of all. I mean, in most jobs there will be Gen X, Gen Z, millennials. We can all get on. We really can. All right, I'm going to go to the next slide, which is that slide. I'll make it big. Thank you, Stephanie, for all your amazing questions. Thank you so much. And I have not been doing it for a million years. I've been teaching all sorts of different things for very many years. But some parts have not been for very, very, very long. I mean, some time, but not for millions of years. So it really, however old you are and whenever you start, it is a journey. It's a journey, and enjoy it, because it is something exciting and it is something that is fun for everyone. Now I'm going to, thanks, Richard, again. Okay, right at the top here, I have written it out as well. Okay, so is the Survey Monkey. The Survey Monkey. Okay, so there's the address there as well. So please, that is the last question. Thank you all for your lovely questions. And please fill in our Survey Monkey and tell us if you enjoyed it and thinks that it was useful and helpful, and ask questions and give advice. So if there are things that you are wanting to learn and that you are wanting TTA to do webinars on, then give suggestions and we will accept them and do them. So thank you so much. Thank you. I'm going to say goodbye. It is always great to do this. Such fun. Hope everyone enjoys the rest of their evening, morning, day, night. Thank you so much, everyone. And I'll see you all again. Good luck with the rest of your course. And thanks. I'm going to just put up the Survey Monkey and give feedback and thank you. All right. Bye.